It is the 14th day of May 2020. Thank you so much for joining us. You're watching NTV at 1. My name is Zainab Ismail. The county government of Tana River is sounding the alarm on a possible outbreak of waterborne diseases as a result of the flash floods ravaging the region. With the waters of the Tana covering almost 2 kilometers inland, the governor says that over 13,000 people have been displaced. Leila Mohammed has that report.
The impact of the Tana River bursting its banks in the last few weeks due to a heavy downpour is visible from above. Tens of acres of land lie underwater. The county governor is warning of the risk of waterborne diseases.
Look at how huge Mororo town is. There are toilets inside there. All the toilets have been submerged. People are inside those waters. Others are cooking next. Some boys are even washing. They are washing there. They are swimming inside. And the water is still flowing downstream with all that kind of waste.
They say that there are many more threats to life, especially for those who live close to where the river pours into the Indian Ocean.
Sasa wanyama wote like crocodiles zinavuka kisha zinaingia mjini. Hii maji usiku ikifika inaenda mpaka ndani ya town kwa sababu hakuna wall iko katikati. Sasa ikisonga tunapata incident ya mtoto ameuliwa na crocodile. Hiyo incident tulikimbia tukasaidia, na pia kiboko, without the seawall, kiboko wote maji ikikuwa mingi inabomoa hii mchanga, ikishabomoa kiboko wote wanavuka.
The governor is also blaming the state for treating the floods menace so casually.
We have said as a government, county government, we have plans for intervention on floods that shifts the focus or the approach from the humanitarian approach to a development approach, that of the village cluster programs. And what is called it calls for is between 3.5 billion to 4 billion shillings, Kenya shillings. It took the national government few days to get 3.5 billion for corona. It is taking them ages to get 4 billion.
More than 13,000 people have since been displaced by floods in the county, and the county government is asking those affected to move to safer grounds.
It takes planning on roads. It has to take planning on moving people to settle them elsewhere. It takes planning on water infrastructure. It takes planning on medical, on education, on the rest of the services which are mandated by law as rights to the people. So just by telling the people to move does not offer a solution.
Governor Godana is asking those affected to liaise with the respective ward administrators in the next 3 days to help in prompt response and provision of aid. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Well, still in Tana River County, a fishing village is on the verge of being wiped away by the expanding waters of the Indian Ocean. Tourism resorts in the area have already been washed away, and residents now fear that soon the entire area could be submerged by ocean waters. Kevin Mutai with the details.
Kippini town is a settlement in Kenya's coastal strip, also known to be an ancient fishing village and one of the tourism destinations because of its diverse attraction sites. But all that glory could soon be a thing of the past, thanks to erosion, which has destroyed the seawall and exposed lives and livelihoods to danger.
Survival of this town now is seriously at risk. Not just about the survival of the town, but even as we speak, because of percolation, it is said that the freshwater boreholes in Kippini will soon turn salty, and that threatens then the survival of the people of Kippini.
A tourism resort that was constructed along the beach just at the tip of the village has since been wiped out, and all the buildings and trees around it have also been washed away.
A hotel facility like this one with 10 buildings has been falling one building after the other until now. The last one is eventually down.
Na maporomoko haya kama hatutakabiliana nayo na mapema basi italeta maafa mingi sana.
The community here largely depends on fishing for food and for commercial purposes. They say that the intrusion of water from Tana River into the sea has affected fish, crabs and even lobster population.
Kuna upungufu mkubwa wa samaki. Kuna sehemu nyingi ambazo zilikuwa ni mazalia ya samaki hazipatikani. Zile sehemu ambazo tulikuwa zinaweza kuweza kuhifadhi mji wa Kippini kama vile upandaji wa miti imeweza kubebwa na maji.
Sisi katika eneo letu hatuogopi corona. Corona yetu ni hii. Unaona vile inavunjika hii bandari yetu mpaka maji yanaingia ndani ya mji sasa hii. Kwa hivyo kile ambacho sisi tunaomba zaidi na zaidi na zaidi, serikali iangalie namna gani itahifadhi mji wetu usiende na maji, as short as that.
River Tana has burst its banks, rendering most of the roads inaccessible as flash floods continue spilling into homesteads. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Meanwhile, a row has ensued between the West Pokot Governor John Lonyangapuo and the County Commissioner Apollo Okello over the alleged misappropriation of funds meant to victims of last year's landslide, which tens of people and displaced thousands more. Gina Kirori has more.
In November last year, West Pokot County was hit by flash floods and landslides which killed over 50 people and displaced more than 1,500. However, a disagreement between the County Commissioner of West Pokot and Governor John Lonyangapuo is causing a delay in the disbursement of about 3 out of the 10 million funds released by the government to compensate victims.
Anasema milioni 10 ilitolewa direct kutoka Ministry ya Wamalwa imekuja kwa County Commissioner West Pokot milioni 10. Lakini sasa milioni 7 tu ndio imetoka kwa County Commissioner West Pokot milioni 7,018,790. Bado pesa milioni 2,981 na shilingi 210 haijaletwa.
The money was meant to resettle victims from Parua, Tapach and Nyarkulian.
Sasa nitaenda kuuliza County Commissioner. Nimeona kimajo pesa haijamalizwa na county na minister wa Malwa amesema amerudisha, imekuja yote, iko wapi pesa? Transparency ndio dominant West Pokot.
But the county commissioner is accusing the county government of lack of transparency. An M-Pesa pay bill set up for the victims by the county governor is also at the center of the tug of war.
I think you also failed your responsibility because you should have questioned the way you are questioning how I spent this money. Those people who opened that pay bill should have been put to task, including by yourselves, to explain how they spent that money.
The county commissioner says that the contentious 2.8 million shillings is still in a bank account, pending a decision by a multi-agency team in determining the beneficiaries. He says the 42 households at Tamkal, 109 at Parua and 76 at Tapach have been paid from the relief funds and has invited auditors to audit the expenditure. Gina Kirori, NTV.
All right, thanks, Gina. Let's now cross over live to Mombasa County, where we have our reporter Kevin Mutai on standby. Kevin, we understand that targeted testing is still ongoing in Mombasa, as health officials are depending on the exercise to isolate those who have been infected by the COVID-19. Just give us a glimpse of what the situation is from that region.
Well, thanks, Zainab, and we're glad to join the broadcast from Bamburi here in Mombasa. And of course, that is a key point that health authorities are definitely using right now to try and trace the infected persons for COVID-19 here in Mombasa. Remember, during daily briefings from the Ministry of Health, Mvita constituency is one of the areas that has registered quite a number of coronavirus cases, with at least 5, not even less than 5 cases being reported recently. We saw that and figure increasing every day, of course, to a number of more than 250 people who have been reported to have been infected with the disease. But of course, also the exercise that has been going on not only in Vita, but of course also in the neighboring constituency of Likoni is an exercise that health authorities are depending so as to reach out to the infected persons and of course isolate them, and of course also instituting other measures to try and stem the spread of the virus, not only in those 2 regions, but of course the entire Mombasa County, which is under containment. And of course, also as the days go by, most of the people are expecting to hear from the government as we near towards the deadline on the cessation of movement. And of course, also many businesses are still reeling from the effects of COVID-19. And here, as you can see, those pictures coming to you live, these are food items that will be distributed to the key players in the tourism industry. We have here drivers who have been affected because of the COVID-19, and I'll just quickly speak to one of the drivers. Kwanza kabisa, anza kwa majina, waitwa nani, halafu tueleze uko hapa kwa sababu gani leo.
Mimi kwa majina naitwa Francis Kevaso Usisa. Mimi ni driver wa Safari Tours. Niko hapa kwa ajili tangu watangaze ugonjwa wa COVID-19. Kazi imeharibika ya tour kabisa. Hata familia zetu ziko na shida. Hatuna pato lolote ambayo tunapata. Lakini nashukuru kwa hii kaunti ya Mombasa kwa ule msaada ambao wametuletea. Ingalau watatuposhi kama kwa siku 2 ama wiki moja hivi ndio familia zetu zipate chakula. Yeah.
So, this particular exercise, Zainab, is not only happening here, but has been going on in various parts within the county of Mombasa. And I'll just quickly engage one of the officers from the county government to just bring us up to speed on other mitigating areas that are being focused on to ensure that they cushion residents from the effects of COVID-19. Please just introduce yourself and tell us. We're seeing that this is extending to other players within the tourism industry. So are we expecting to see more of this, and of course also maybe touch a little bit on other mitigating measures that you're introducing to stem the spread of the virus?
My name is Asha Abdi. I'm the acting chief officer in charge of trade and tourism. Today we are here to distribute food parcels to 120 families, and these are tour drivers who have been mostly affected by the pandemic. And this is part of the county-wide emergency and nutrition support program, which was rolled by His Excellency the Governor Hassan Ali Joho, and is meant to actually support 227 vulnerable households within Mombasa and in all the 6 sub-counties within the county. So today we are here to actually support the tourism industry. Remember, this is one of the industries that has been hit the hardest after the COVID-19 pandemic, and they could actually use all the support they can get. The county government of Mombasa currently is working on an economic stimulus package, which is actually meant to support businesses which are operating within the tourism industry and to cushion them from the economic effects of COVID-19. At the same time, the county has a number of plans that we intend to implement. At the moment, we are also running a campaign encouraging all visitors that have been previously planning to visit Mombasa to actually not cancel their visit to Mombasa, but to postpone. And Mombasa has a lot to offer. This is a county that has a lot of areas and tourism products that people in the world can actually enjoy, and we're actually encouraging them not to cancel but to postpone their visit. When this is all over, we are going to come back and actually enjoy the best of tourism product which Mombasa has to offer. So basically that's why we are here today, to support the 120 tour drivers who are here with us today. We have programs to actually upscale the program to cover other drivers who are affected. So this is just phase 1 of the project here.
Thank you so much. Well, of course, that is an official from the county government of Mombasa. And speaking about the tourism industry, it is one of the sectors that has really taken a hit since this outbreak of the COVID-19. Hotels have closed up, employees have been sent home either on leave or unpaid leave. So it is something that everyone and most of the residents here in Mombasa are expecting things to return to normal. But of course, for this to happen, then of course the government still maintains that they must keep or rather follow the guidelines and protocols issued by the Ministry of Health in the efforts of dealing with the spread of the virus. Back to you, Zainab.
All right, thank you. Kevin Mutai there from the coast region. Well, private security guards in the country are calling for the setting up of a special fund to cushion them against the economic effects of the coronavirus. The Kenya National Private Security Workers Union says a number of its members have been exposed to the dangers of the virus, while some losing jobs due to layoffs. Union Secretary General Isaac Ndambwa also wants the adoption of the minimum wage bill passed in 2018, as well as the provision of personal protective equipment to guards during this pandemic.
Na wale wengine ambulance ambao wanafanya biashara ya kuibia bawabu, nataka niwaweke kwa notice. Wasifanyie maisha ya bawabu experiment. Huwezi kuishi Nairobi na shilingi 10,000. Huwezi kuishi Nairobi na shilingi 5,000. We are also Kenyans. We are not second-hand Kenyans. And we are also a worker. Hatuhitaji mambo ya regulations ya MPs kule parliament ndio tulipe maskari minimum wage. Serikali tupatia minimum wage 2018. Hakuna enforcement ya minimum wage.
Well, away from that, the county government of Nakuru has received personal protective equipment and sanitizing stations for distribution to health facilities to aid in combating COVID-19. Speaking while receiving the donation from World Vision, Nakuru Deputy Governor Eric Korir says the sanitizing stations will be distributed to areas with water scarcity. More than 100 hand-washing stations have been installed in 3 wards already, in schools, markets and at chief's camps, even as the county steps up its surveillance of long-distance truck drivers who have since become a high-risk group.
Our vision is to look for about looking the children whom we work with and the families, and we know they are vulnerable, and during this COVID time they are also affected. So these items that we are handing over to you today will go a long way to assisting these children and their homes.
And we want to urge the people from this great county to continue being careful, to continue being observing the necessary social distance, keeping washing their hands and also wearing face masks.
Meanwhile, police at Isebania border have arrested 10 people sneaking into the country through the border with Tanzania. Among them are 4 Tanzanian nationals who are heading to Masara for mining escapade. Locals now want the government to increase the number of officers along the border, as Bernardo Juang reports.
The green jitters on the situation in Tanzania has seen more calls to have the border points closed, among these being at the Isebania border in the county of Migori.
Wengine wanasafirishwa usiku, wanapitia vichorochoro, wanaletwa huku hivyo, na ndio wanatuletea corona Kenya. Na wakati Magufuli amesema kwamba eti corona iko Tanzania, shughuli zote Tanzania zinaendelea, na sisi Kenya hakuna makanisa, misikiti hakuna, shule hakuna. Sasa wametuletea shida hadi uchumi wetu umeenda chini. Sasa tulikuwa tunaomba serikali yetu ya Kenya iweke mikingamo kabiti kabisa, hao watu wasiingie nchini kwetu. Tulikuwa tunaomba hata mpaka wetu ufungwe kabisa.
Rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania atuendelee kutuzibia kabisa mpaka, ndugu yangu. Wote ni mandugu, sisi ni Wakuria na wale ni Wakuria, ni watu wetu wote. Tumeomba hata kama ni jeshi weke mpaka Nyamaranya na Morabu yote ifungwe hiyo mpaka, tunaomba hiyo tafadhali. Hakuna mtu anataka kifo.
Ukae Tanzania, ukae pande hiyo, tunataka watu kutangamana hapa. Bora tumefunga.
Migori has so far recorded 10 people who have tested COVID-19 positive, and the county government believes that these individuals came from Tanzania. Wednesday at the Isebania border, it was in business as usual. No one was allowed to roam around the porous borders. This is owing to the belief that people are sneaking in and out of the country to visit their relatives in both countries, as well as doing business in Tanzania, since trading has not slowed down as the case in Kenya.
Pikipiki zetu zilikamata huko Tanzania, si ndio? Wao wakasema hizi pikipiki haziwezi vuka huko, wenyewe mnatuletea corona hapa Tanzania, si ndio? Alafu wao vitu vyao hapo kiangalia hapa Kenya ni vingi tu viko vimezagaa. Angalia kama hii gari saa hii haijashua mahindi bali imeingia saa hii. Unajua imetoka sehemu gani? Na imepita hapo tu, custom imeingia hapa. Sasa hivi wewe gari ya Kenya hapo kuingia Tanzania ni mtihani.
Matarangwe, Gwitembe, Nyamataburo, Nyamutiro, Nyamagagana, Kopanga and Kogaja towns are the points of interest here. We are informed that they continue to record an influx of travelers secretly moving in and out of the country, some with goods, others sneak into Tanzania to enjoy themselves.
Wachukua bodaboda wanapita nayo mipaka, wanaenda kunywa pombe na wanarudi hapa, na wakisharudi hapa na mara wameenda kukaa sehemu ya pombe hapo, na hapo ndio kuna wenye Watanzania wenye wako na hii ugonjwa wa virusi ya corona.
Those will be harboring the people from Tanzania, the families will be harboring those guys, they will be put on forced quarantine at their own cost.
10 people have been arrested. Among them are 4 Tanzanian nationals who were briefly held at its Bania Port Health facility before they were transferred to Mabera Quarantine Center. They say they got into the country from Tarime on motorcycles and were heading to Masara gold mines for a mining exercise.
Mpaka tumechukua pikipiki ndio ikatupitisha nje za panya afu tukavuka. Tumechukua pikipiki. Nimelipia shilingi 200 wote wana. Ndio wakatuleta mpaka hapo Isbania stand. Ndio tukakaa gari, tulikuwa tunaelekea Migori. Kafika hapa ndio tukashushiwa hapa kwamba sisi ni wa Tanzania.
Well, this is Mabera Quarantine Center where 8 people managed to escape yesterday night. One person was later arrested by security officers who were on patrol while sneaking into the neighboring country Tanzania. And according to Health Department here in Migori, the search is ongoing and whoever will be found will be brought back here for another 14 days and later will be charged in the court of law.
And the search is ongoing on. We are together with the police officers and the CID to make sure that this works well. And the collaboration or partnership between us and the national government is that strong. It's working well for us, and I believe that maybe by the end of the day we would be able to recover the said quarantines.
But a spot check by NTV in various towns in Migori County reveals that even though security and health officials are trying to enforce the directive, there is laxity among traders and residents who continue to throw caution to the wind. Many are neither wearing face masks nor observing social distancing. This has left Migori County with a sense of helplessness.
You know, it is when you put on the mask, because you don't have the standard. So you find it now suppressing your breathing. Most people don't put it accordingly, and we agree we are not doing the right thing. I can't pretend that we are doing the right thing. No, it is not proper.
The Migori issue is highly attributed to the laxity in Tanzania, and this is where we need to engage in serious dialogue and discussion with the national government so that we can together agree on how to safeguard our borders. Some effort is there. The county commissioner and his team are also working tirelessly, but I think it's obvious we need much more should be done.
Anado Juang, NTV.
All right, thanks Bernard for that report. Let's take a quick break here on NTV at 1. We still have a lot more we've lined up for you. Stay with us, we'll be back.
Sonadol Extra imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli kupambana haraka na maumivu ya kichwa, mwili na hata meno. Sonadol Extra, hakika maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Basic protective measures as guided by the World Health Organization. Clean hands frequently with soap and clean water. Cover nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing with a tissue or flexed elbow. Avoid close contact 1 meter or 3 feet with anyone with cold or flu-like symptoms. If you have fever, cough and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Avoid raw or uncooked animal products. Help the world put an end to the spread of respiratory diseases by sharing this message with a friend. Message brought to you by Sour Herbal Family Bath Soap.
Working from home? No problem. Fiber Home has you covered with the fastest and most reliable internet speeds. Get connected today. Kazi lazima iendelee.
Akili, 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 akili. Let's chase the germs away. Let's chase the germs away by keeping our hands clean. And when you want to sneeze or when you want to cough, do it in your elbow. Let's practice sneezing into your elbow. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Achoo! Again. Achoo! Yay! You did it! Germs, germs, germs. They make us sick. Germs, germs, germs are not our friends. Germs, germs, germs. They make us sick. Germs, germs, germs. Germs, germs, germs are not your friends.
With DSTV Now, you open up a world of possibility where your entertainment is ready for you anytime and anywhere. To get connected, ask your parents to go to the App Store, hit download and log in.
Incredible! Incredible!
And while they're there, with DSTV's parental control feature, setting you up for the most fun and safest viewing around is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Amazing entertainment and learning, anywhere with DSTV.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching NTV at 1. Now, the government says it is formulating a post-COVID-19 policy to source and protect local innovations. The Chief Administrative Secretary in charge of Industry, Trade and Enterprise Development says the government is doing everything possible to ensure that innovations made to combat COVID-19 pandemic do not go to waste even after the virus is defeated.
Kenyans have been developing local solutions such as ventilators, masks, hand sanitizers and hand washing units, among other protective gadgets to help in curbing the spread of coronavirus. Now the government says it will protect the rights of innovators.
We'll facilitate to ensure that whatever innovation you have made, it is protected by registering that, either patenting it or having your intellectual property registered or whatever technology patented, so that you may continue gaining benefit of your intellectual property.
At least 8 entities, including Kenyan universities like JKUAT, have come up with great innovations. The university's latest innovations include a portable solar-powered prototype ventilator, a contact tracing application, a digital system that predicts COVID-19 infection trends in Kenya, and an automatic solar-powered hand washing machine.
It is therefore my plea to the government and private sector to partner with institutions of higher learning to formulate relevant policies and offer incentives that propel innovations from the idea stage to fruition.
Karanja Kippini is a mechatronics engineer. He says the ventilators, whose materials are locally available, have a high reliability and can operate for 2 weeks without the need for maintenance. The digital contact tracing and case management app can identify who, where, and when a person gets into contact with a COVID-19 positive individual with an inclination to public transport usage.
We have rediscovered ourselves as a country, and the role of the ministry is to maintain that momentum and repurpose industry and local production to achieve that going forward.
Researchers drawn from health sciences, IT, remote sensing and aromatics have also developed a web-based digital platform that is key in predicting the COVID-19 infection trends in the country. Judith Cherono, NTV.
Now, the Britam Group has donated 15 million shillings to COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund. Speaking during the handing over of the dummy check, the Group Managing Director, Dr. Benson Wairegi, said that the firm was pleased by the efforts by the Emergency Response Fund Committee to ensure the proper utilization of money raised to fight coronavirus. Britam's donation follows the government's appeal to individuals, corporate entities, development partners and multinational institutions to support the COVID-19 Emergency Response Response Fund, formed to spearhead mobilization of resources for emergency response towards containing the spread, effects and impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, Family Bank has set aside 1.3 billion shillings for lending to micro, small and medium-sized business operating in the healthcare environment. Through this kitty, micro, small and medium-sized businesses will be able to access credit to procure medical equipment, pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceuticals, acquire working capital, hospital construction and finance infrastructure development. The 1.3 billion shillings kitty has been set up through the partnership between Family Bank and medical equipment and infrastructure financing company Wellwise Solutions. All right, let's now take a look at stories making headlines in the world of sports. And the national beach volleyball team is optimistic Kenya can still participate in the Tokyo Olympics qualifiers after world governing body FIFA extended the qualifications period on Wednesday. The Rio Olympic ranking qualification deadline has been extended to June 13th, 2021, mirroring the previous deadline of June 14th, 2020, and the Olympic ranking list will be published a day later on June 14th. Kenyan men and women's teams failed to honor the second round qualifiers that were held in Gambia and Nigeria, respectively, in March after the government banned athletes from traveling for international events due to the coronavirus outbreak. And Italian sports minister insisted Wednesday that Serie A football will only resume when the safety of all is guaranteed, saying he found the intense debate excessive. Italian teams returned to individual training after a 2-month lockdown on May 4th, with group sessions set for May 18th under very strict conditions. There has been much debate over the quarantine period after